Okay. Well, welcome everybody to this informational webinar on the attitudes related to trauma-informed care survey. Brandy and I are excited that you're all here with us. I'm Shannon Fagan. I work for Early Intervention Technical Assistance, which is a partner to OCDEL. And Brandy?
I'm Brandy Fox. I am the director of all things infant early childhood mental health at the PAC on behalf of OCDEL.
So we're just so happy you're here to learn about this, and hopefully once you leave today, you'll have more information and can feel comfortable getting the word out about the opportunity and helping us move this forward. So I'm going to do a little bit of history really quickly and why we're doing this study and our partnerships and those kinds of things. But first, I just wanted to let you know that this survey has been a long time coming. Brandy and I and our partners at the Office of Mental Health and PDE, Department of Education, have been working for over a year trying to figure out the best way to see where people were in the trauma-informed field, if you will. Like, what did they know about trauma? How were they seeing trauma? How were they thinking just about this? And it all started because there were some funds available to do some work around trauma through the PDG funds. And we as a group decided to, like, maybe we should be doing a conference, or maybe we should be doing this. And when we started planning for a conference pre-COVID, we realized very quickly that we were all at very different places around our knowledge and what we knew of in the field for trauma. So we thought it would be best to look for a tool that could give us a platform, if you will, tell us where we were across the state and how could we start to build based on what people knew and what their attitudes were. How could we start building more into our current trainings that would help enhance knowledge around trauma-informed care? So this study is going to help us identify additional supports and resources that could be available to you over the next few years. So next slide. So I'll do this one. Why measure staff attitudes related to trauma-informed care? Because attitudes are really the driver of the implementation of the trauma-informed practices that we want to get out there. So if I'm aware of it and I'm comfortable with the topic, I'll be more likely to influence the staff around this topic. So that means I could provide more information to my staff around trauma initiatives because I'll be aware of it, I'll be looking for it. It could help with my moment-to-moment interactions with people. And we all know that being trauma-informed is going to help us improve outcomes for children, staff, and our system.
So just to say, the ARTIC, the theory behind the development of the ARTIC really was around these attitudes and how they are that driver. So we were just thinking, that would be a great way to measure across our systems, early childhood system in particular, as it relates to OCDEL, to get a sense of where's everyone standing, and then how do we do interventions. And from interventions, I mean more a resource. Do we launch a resource? Do we launch a training intervention? And how might that change people's scores and attitudes around trauma-informed care? And that shows OCDEL what they should invest in, perhaps for a larger community.
Yeah.
So we were really thinking really hard, this work group of ours, and who do we target? We were trying to think about, under OCDEL, we have a lot of different service sectors. We have early childhood education and childcare, and there's a lot of different options in that bucket. We have home visiting that has a lot of different programs, family support, early intervention, both, the 0 to 5, as well as our early learning resource centers. So we were trying to figure out, that's a lot of people. How do we narrow it down to kind of 1,100 individuals that will help guide OCDEL through the ARTIC surveys? So why program leadership? And so really we came down to that oftentimes what program leaders know about something like trauma-informed care can impact how those strategies or ways of being are implemented through an entire program or by all staff. So we felt it was important to gauge program leaders on trauma-informed care to help OCDEL identify resources and training strategies that may be impactful for the early childhood workforce, no matter what part of that system a professional belongs to. So that's why we kind of have these categories. And that's why we were targeting kind of middle leadership and middle management as key factors in trauma-informed care implementation.
There's also probably less likelihood of staff turnover at that level too, for engagement purposes. So,
and what I do want to say is, for those of you on, you feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question, type a question in the chat box, stop us for clarification. We'll also do that at the end. So what do we mean by administrator or supervisor? So some of it might be really clear, you know, program leader, administrator, someone who supervises some other staff in their program. And for family child care, that could mean the owner operator. So we didn't want to exclude individuals who kind of are the person in their environment, or the, you know, the owner operator administrator, their own individual in that program. So if you know family child care programs, you are one, or you know others, we would love to engage them in this work as well. So this is something we just wanted to make sure that you saw, because when we ask, you know, people to do a survey, you want to know what kind of questions might be thrown at me in a survey. And so, you know, the survey contains several questions presented kind of on a belief scale, such as what's on this slide. So it's asking you to rank, you know, what do you believe more on that scale of 1 to 7? There are no right or wrong answers. It's just really kind of, how do you feel about trauma-informed care and some of these different aspects of trauma-informed care? What do you believe about trauma? What do you find important? And that's how it kind of measures throughout the different indicators. So that's just a snapshot of kind of what you might expect in the survey if you choose to be a participant. Do you want to take the next one?
sure. So we are hopeful that we will begin the study this fall, fingers crossed. We have a lot of people that we want to engage in this process. We are the largest study that's been paid for to date for the program. And what I mean by that is we have 1,500 slots, as Brandy said earlier. So Pennsylvania has the largest amount of slots available to study over a 3-year period of time that will give us a lot of information. So we want to make sure we have those spots filled. So we're hopeful that all 1,100 slots for OCDEL will be filled by the fall, and we can begin rolling it out by then. So we will be letting you know, if you do choose to participate in the survey, you will get a series of emails from a few different places to talk about, to let you know that this is coming, because it will come in a way that it might not be identifiable, or your email might block it. So we want to give you all that information ahead of time, so you know what to look for, who that email is going to be coming from, and so on. So how much time will you need? So we're expecting that the survey is going to take about 15 to 35 minutes. It's all electronic. It can be done on your laptop, your phone. They'll be sent to you twice a year. So we're asking 6 times total over a 3-year period of time. So that's why we're like, you might forget about that site, that link or whatever. So we're going to make sure that you're well informed. But it will happen. So like an hour a year is what we're asking for from all of you. And again, it can be completed on your computer, a tablet, your mobile phone. So it's pretty easy to do.
So how would you know, like once you agree, hopefully you agree to participate in the study, how will you know when to begin? So you'll receive an email, and there's a few different, like Shannon said, we'll make sure that participants are well prepared to know, if I get an email from ARTIC Scale, it's not spam, it's linked, you know, it's directly a part of this study. There'll be an invitation with multiple reminders sent out over the course of those 3 years for the different the 2 time points per year. But once you submit the survey for that time interval, you won't get any more reminders until it's time for the next one. So we don't want to overload. I don't think ARTIC wants to overload anyone with extra emails. It will really just be associated with the time of the survey deployment.
Yeah, you will, however, after the survey, after you take the survey, you are going to get your own results. So the survey is 100% confidential. We will not know who's taking the survey or what your answers are, but we will, you will see your own responses. And what we're going to get is that cumulative. So we won't know who answered what, but we'll be able to see how many, if you will. But it's kind of nice because you'll be able to see your own journey towards trauma-informed care. You'll be able to see where your strengths may lie or where you might have more curiosity about what's going on. So we were excited that that was part of this package, that you'll be able to see your own results.
We probably should have added that slide, but another thing is, I think what we would like to do is for anyone who's participating, try to prioritize those participants in whatever resource or training opportunity is implemented by OCDEL over the next 3 years. So really hoping that by targeting participants of the survey, we're actually collecting data that says that strategy, that resource, that training was impactful. Let's do that again for the entire workforce. Let's make that piece sustainable. So there's a lot of different pieces that we're just trying to, learn from this participating group. And also, just to let you know, like Shannon said, both the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services and the Department of Education are participating in this study. While they have a smaller number of respondents, they're targeting portions of their systems that focus on the birth to 8 population. So for OMSAS, the mental health system, they're really thinking of targeting behavioral health providers who work and support young children and their families birth to 8. For the Department of Education, I believe they're targeting elementary school principals or leaders so that they're getting that early elementary timeframe. And so part of this process is not only going to inform OCDEL specific interventions for our workforce, but it's also going to help to identify, are there ways that we could leverage our efforts across these 3 departments and do something bigger, or make sure our efforts are aligned so that maybe we're saying the same thing, we're using the same language, we're reinforcing the same training content or resource. And then bigger picture is, we have our Governor Wolf and his leadership are focused on the HEAL PA and ensuring that Pennsylvania becomes a trauma-informed state. So for me, it aligns very well with that larger picture of helping our different systems partners become trauma-informed for all citizens in Pennsylvania. So it's all nice. It all fits nicely together systems-wide. So what do you need to know to support this effort? Well, you'll see it highlighted. OCDEL is looking for 1,100 respondents. So if you know anyone in those buckets, early education and childcare, and that includes pre-K counts, Head Start, early Head Start, any kind of center-based family group place where childcare and early education is occurring, home visiting, family support programs, EI, ELRCs, share this with those administrators and supervisors. We'll make sure that we have the video, our little information video here uploaded so that it's accessible, so that we can try to engage as many as we can. Our initial deadline was going to be August 31st, but with about less than 100 people right now, I think we're going to have to extend that and do some real targeted engagement. So don't be surprised if you see more coming through the different comms pieces from OCDEL around engaging. What we'll do is make sure everyone has a copy of the frequently asked questions and the flyer with the survey link to kind of enroll yourself, quote unquote. But also we have a dedicated email address for any comments or questions that you or someone that you share this information with may have. And it's articproject@pakeys.org. And both Shannon and I will be managing that email account and working collectively to answer any questions and keep the group updated.
Yeah. And if you are interested to really look a little further at the ARTIC itself, you can go to the traumaticstressinstitute.org, and there's a whole just section dedicated to ARTIC and what to expect, how it works, the meat behind it, if you will, the studies. So it's all there if you would like to see that.
So at this point in time, I think we would just open it up for any questions or comments, thoughts, anything we're missing. You might have to unmute yourself. I am putting in the chat box the link to the location on the PAKey's website where you can access kind of the flyer that went out as well as the survey. This is probably where we're going to upload the webinar recording as well.
Any thoughts, curiosities?
Everyone gonna gung-ho and participate, because that's what we really need to. Your experiences and your information is really important to us to make some really sustainable changes and resources in our system. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, guys. I just had a question about what, and I apologize, I did have to jump in a little bit late. What trainings and offerings are being supported for this right now for folks who are going to be participating in the survey? Or is it just taking a look at what do we have and what don't we have?
I think the first part of the survey is a baseline. Where are we in terms of where people are sitting, which will help identify, what is next. I do know that we're doing another professional development instructor institute around the Health Federation's Becoming Trauma Informed series, which is a 3-part series, so that we can have more instructors of that content within our early childhood workforce. So that might be one of those opportunities as that maybe as a TOT for individuals on this in this study that are interested in that, and or targeting the participants in the study with that training series moving forward into the next year. So this is just that baseline to see what we know and what we can start to implement over the course of 3 years.
Cool. Thank you.
And if I just see there was a comment that came to me just with a suggestion. So if you have a suggestion of a group that we should target, please type that in the chat box and we'll work with Colin Day and Mary Hall at PAKey Comms to get that out to some of those groups. Like Candace suggested, maybe First Up in Philadelphia. I know they're doing some trauma work there. So that is a really good suggestion. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. So if you're, so thinking about, there's 3 different, groups that are doing this. So if I know that yesterday Shannon said she had a few EI people on the OMSAS webinar. So if you're a mental health clinician on this webinar, we'll probably connect you with Karen at OMSAS to be engaged in their study, because while we're doing this collectively, we each kind of have our own bucket of research, so to speak, and respondents, so that we can keep it fairly similar, but look at the themes across the state or across the different systems. So definitely if you're early childhood, early intervention, childcare, home visiting, family support, and our early learning resource centers, we want you to participate in the OCDEL version. If you're a behavioral health or mental health clinician, we'll connect you with Karen at OMSAS. And if you are an early elementary leader, or even maybe part of a team at the early elementary school system level, we would connect you with Dana from PDE to kind of get enrolled in and discuss your enrollment in their part of the study. So sorry, that's a little complicated, but that's how we kind of set it up a little bit.
Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? We don't want to keep you. We just want to make sure we're answering anything you have.
I just put a note that we'll make sure that the recording, as well as the slide deck that we used, will be posted on the PAKey's website, hopefully by the end of the week. So you can reference, you can share that information with anyone that you think kind of falls within the parameters of a potential participant. So share. The more respondents we get, the more data OCDEL can use to inform strategies moving forward.
Okay.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, that link that I put at the top of the chat does have, will take you to the PA Keys where you can complete a Survey Monkey. If you decide, hey, I want to participate, just go ahead and enter yourself in that Survey Monkey so that we can start to collect that information for ARTIC. On that email or on that link is also our email. If you have some follow-up questions, please feel free to email us at that articproject@pakeys.org, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
We hope you all will participate or pass on to someone that could, and we just appreciate your time today. We're very passionate about this, so thank you all.
Thank you.